So let's take a look at customizing the register screens. In our world, we call register screens panels, and each panel contains multiple buttons. We allow you to have an unlimited number of panels and have unique panel sets that can be assigned to locations, meaning that each location can look and function differently if you choose, or all locations can be identical. At a minimum, most panel sets will have main, subtotal, and cashier function panels. Other common panels include ones for selling items such as deli, cigar, or things that don't generally have a barcode but are frequently sold. Creating panels for these items expedites the sale and is much less error-prone than having the cashier manually enter an item's code or looking up the item and selecting it from the search results. All buttons in our POS are permission-based, meaning that if a cashier doesn't have permission to use that button type, then the button simply doesn't appear for them. You can also require manager permissions to use certain buttons, and if the current cashier is not a manager, the system will prompt for a manager to enter their credentials, either via biometric read or ID password combination. We also track the usage of all buttons, especially what we consider negative, such as cancels, voids, no sales, and we also have corresponding reports available that show detailed usage. Let's take a look at how to manage all of this. Once logged into Control Center, navigate to Point of Sale, Maintenance, Settings and Panels. From here, select the POS Panels tab. So this will show a list of all your existing panel sets, including the number of devices using that set, the theme the set is assigned to, and creation and updated timestamps. From here, I can create a new panel set or edit an existing one. Let's choose to edit our default panels panel set. This is the panel designer. The top section shows the panel set name, and clicking the gear allows you to set some panel options. The theme is the color scheme that the panel set will use. And the number of columns defaults to 11, but can be configured up to 21 depending on the resolution of the POS screen. 11 columns is commonly used with our RP9 hardware. However, the more columns you have, the more buttons you can fit on the screen. The left side of the screen are the available button blanks that can be added to the panel. There are 3 different sized buttons and a keypad collection button. The keypad collection allows you to quickly add a numeric keypad to any panel. The middle section shows a tab for each panel in the set. To add a new panel, click the plus icon and the new panel will be added. Once added, you can change the name of the panel, and to remove a panel, simply click the X icon. Let's name our new panel Deli. As you can see, when a panel is created, we automatically add a couple of commonly used buttons, such as a placeholder button and a panel navigation button. Each button placed on the panel needs to be configured before it's usable. This is done by accessing the button properties via double-clicking on a button. Some button types don't require any additional settings, while others, like Sell Item or Open Department, can require several. There are also common settings that all buttons can have, such as Manager Override Required, Employee Override Required, and Require Loyalty Customer. The description of each button type shows on the right side of the property page. This helps you decide if it's the right button for your needs. So let's take a look at some common button types using our new deli panel. So we want our deli panel to allow the cashier to choose from common deli items in our price book. We want to give the cashier the ability to return to the main screen or go directly to the subtotal screen. And finally, we need a way for the cashier to get to the deli panel. To do this, we'll start by adding a button to our main panel. So we'll choose our main panel and drag and drop a button into a blank space. From here, we'll enter the button name. I'll name ours Deli, choose a color, and a button type of either basic or icon. The button type for this button will be panel navigation. The only attribute needed for this is the panel you want to appear when the button is pressed. A panel navigation button is used to navigate or move from one panel to another. So for this, let's choose our newly created deli panel. We'll save those changes. Additionally, we can dynamically resize and move the button once it's in place to any available open spot. In the bottom section, we can set the button text or caption, choose the button color, which is derived from the theme the button's used, set the radius of the borders of the button, as well as choose the button type. If the button type is set to an icon button, we can additionally choose the icon that shows on the button. Now let's head back over to our deli panel and work on that. To allow the cashier to navigate back to the home screen and go directly to the subtotal screen. So we already have a placeholder button for navigating back to the home screen, so let's configure that first. So we'll open the button properties, ensure that the type is panel navigation, and choose our main panel to navigate to. So now let's add a new button to navigate to the subtotal screen. We'll set the name to subtotal, choose a color. Once again, we'll be using a button type of panel navigation. This time we want to navigate to our subtotal panel. Now let's add some buttons to allow the cashier to sell items. We'll look at a few different ways of doing that. First, we'll add buttons to allow a cashier to sell a single item without any input. In our example, we'll add two buttons, one for a small bag of ice and one for a large bag of ice. First, we'll drop the button onto the panel, give it a name, in this case, small bag of ice, a color, and type. The button type we want to use is Sell Item. The Sell Item button only requires one additional attribute, and that is the item or items we want to sell. In our case, we want to tie this to a single item, so we'll choose our small bag of ice. We'll add that item to our selected lists and apply it. Now let's add a second button for the large bag of ice. We'll repeat the procedure of giving it a caption, color, and type. The button type will once again be Sell Item. This time, we'll choose our large bag of ice. Now let's add a button to prompt the cashier for which item to sell. Once again, we'll add a button. In this case, we'll use fountain drinks as the caption. Choose a color and type. Once again, we'll use Sell Item. But instead of choosing one item, I'm going to choose multiple. So in this case, I have 4 different size fountain drinks, and I want to assign them all to the same button. I can choose all of them, add them to the selected list, and apply. Another common scenario is an open department sale. This is when you need to sell something that either isn't in the price book or you aren't tracking inventory on it. Common uses include gift cards, charity donation, tips, and lotto tickets. To handle this, we'll add a button, choose its color and type, for this, we're going to use Open Department. From here, I'm going to choose the department I wish the sale to be recorded in. In our case, we're going to use food. I could then adjust the size and location of this button. Now that we have our new panel wired up, let's save it and take a look at it in action. To save, simply click one of the Save buttons on the top right. Save, Save in New, or Save and Close. Once saved, any locations assigned to use this panel set will automatically get the changes made the next time the register is open. Alternatively, the location can manually update via a data synchronization action. Let's open our POS and take a look. To manually update, I can choose Actions, Data Synchronization, POS Panel. So let's open our POS. As you can see, we have our new navigation button captioned Deli with our icon. Touching it will take us to our newly created panel. From here, we can navigate back to the main panel or directly to the subtotal panel. To sell a small bag of ice, I can simply touch Small Bag of Ice. To sell large bag of ice, I can touch Large Bag of Ice. When touching our fountain drink button, we're presented with a list of items we've pre-configured. Selecting one will sell that specific item and close the pop-up. As you can see with this option, you're able to save screen real estate by having up to 66 items all tied back to a single button. Finally, we can use our Open Department button. To use this type of button, the cashier would enter the amount of the open department sale and then press the button. So there are dozens of available button types that encompass just about anything you can dream up. So dive in and check out the detailed description of each one in the Panel Designer. You can also refer to our documentation for more information about the individual attributes and settings available for the buttons. Thanks for spending time with us today.